Chapter 153. The Christians go to Jerusalem. They note the withered fig tree, its symbolic meaning. Jesus teaches in the temple, is censored by the priests, relates a parable of a rich man's feast. On Tuesday early in the day, the Master and the 12 went to Jerusalem. And as they went, the 12 observed the tree to which the Lord had talked the day before. And lo, the leaves were withered, just as if they had been scorched with fire. And Peter said, Lord, see the tree. Its leaves are withered, and the tree seems dead. And Jesus said, So shall it be with those who bear no fruit. When God shall call them up to give account, lo, he will breathe upon them, and their leaves, their empty words, will wither and decay. God will not let the fruitless trees of life encumber ground, and he will pluck them up and cast them all away. Now, you can demonstrate the power of God. Have faith in God, and you can bid the mountains to depart, and they will crumble at your feet. And you may talk to wind and wave, and they will hear, and will obey what you command. God hears the prayer of faith, and when you ask in faith, you shall receive. You must not ask amiss. God will not hear the prayer of any man who comes to him with blood or of other men upon his hands. And he who harbors envious thoughts and does not love his fellow men may pray forever unto God, and he will not hear him not. And he will hear him not, God can do nothing more for men than they would do for other men. I'll repeat that verse 11. God can do nothing more for men than they would do for other men. Verse 12. And Jesus walked again within the temple courts. The priests and the scribes were much emboldened by the counsel of Caiaphas and the other men in power. And so they came to Jesus and they said, Who gave you the authority to do as you have done? Why did you drive the merchants from the temple yesterday? And Jesus answered them and said, If you will answer what I ask, then I will answer you. Was John the harbinger a man of God, or was he a seditious man? The scribes and Pharisees were loath to answer him. They reasoned thus among themselves, If we shall say John was a prophet sent from God, then he will say, John testified for me that I am Son of God. Why do you not believe his words? If we should say John was a bold, seditious man, the people will be angered, for they think he was a prophet of the living God. And so they answered Jesus and they said, We do not know, we cannot tell. Then Jesus said, If you will tell me not, then I will tell you not who gave me power to drive the robbers from the house of God. And then he spoke a parable to them. He said, A man once made a feast inviting all the rich and honored people of the land. But when they came, they found the door into the banquet hall was low, and they could not enter except they bowed their heads and fell down on their knees. These people would not bow their heads and fall down on their knees, and so they went away. They went not to the feast. And then the man sent forth his messengers to bid the common folks and those of low estate to come and feast with him. These people gladly came. They bowed their heads and fell down on their knees, and came into the banquet hall, and it was full, and everyone rejoiced. And then the master said, Behold, you priests and scribes and Pharisees, the Lord of heaven and earth has spread a sumptuous feast, and you were bidden first of all. But you have found the door into the banquet hall so low that you must bow your heads and fall down on your knees to enter in. And you have scorned the king who made the feast, refused to bow your heads and fall down on your knees, and you have gone your way. But now God calls again. The common folks and those of low estate have come in multitudes, have entered in unto the feast, and all rejoice. I tell you, men, that publicans and courtesans go through the gates into the kingdom of the God of heaven, and you are left without. John came to you in righteousness. He brought the truth, but you believed him not. But publicans and courtesans believed and were baptized and now have entered in unto the feast. I tell you now, as I have told you many times, the many have been called, but chosen are the few. Amen. Bear in mind, people, actually, I forgot to say this earlier in my earlier videos. When I'm reading this text, and in fact, when I'm reading any other, Christian-based text, like the Bible, for instance, when I see a reference to Pharisees or scribes or Sadducees, I basically interpret that in my head as religious people. And I found that actually helps me relate to how things are in terms of God and spirituality today. So if you do read the Bible or even go on to read this text that I'm reading to you now, always remember that when you come across the terms Pharisees, Sadducees, or scribes, just replace them with religion and see how that pans out for you as you read it and understand things. Yeah, that was really a great text by the one and only Jesus once again. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Thank you for your time.